Hello and welcome to the Trading Post podcast, where we unlock the secrets of business-to-business trade, dive into powerful networking strategies, and share my exciting journey of using a podcast to market my business instead of relying on SEO. I'm your host, Trader Stu. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Trading Post podcast. I got something a little bit different scheduled for today. Over the last week, I was scheduled to speak at the American Business Women's Association, or the ABWA, at their monthly meeting and talk about the benefits of using a podcast as a platform for advertising or marketing a business, and the ins and outs of using a podcast and doing a podcast and the equipment needed, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I recorded myself during it. And so I wanted to upload it for you because, why not? I asked if I could, and they said it was all right. And I figured, you know what, even the audio is going to be a little, I think, sketchy. Well, I don't know. I use the same microphone as usual. However, there's going to be some background noise, maybe some chatter. I was at the, arcade out there, Dave & Buster's. So there's some background noise with that, maybe some arcade games, definitely dishes and plates and silverware, because I was speaking while everyone was eating, so to speak, one of those things, it was like a dinner, conversation. So I was real laid back, real chill. And I tried to just do mostly questions and answers because I can talk at or to anybody through the podcast. I wanted to make it more on a personal level and answer any and all questions that they had there. So I'm going to keep this intro short, and basically that's it. I'm going to just unedited the upload, and it's about, looks like 30 minutes long maybe. And I'll go through, maybe do some rough edits and maybe some pauses, but you're here and there. But really, it's just going to be raw, uncut, unedited footage. Or recording, I guess you could say. So that's it. That's enough of me talking. I'm going to go ahead and upload that and connect that here. And we'll see you in the next week, next show. Thank you. Be good or be good at it. Sounds weird saying it right after the intro. Good evening. Stuart Aldrich, or I go by Trader Stu as well for the podcast. It's just a fun little gimmick that I made up to have fun with it. I'm also the sales and marketing manager for Metro Trading Association, and of course the Trading Post podcast. So thank you, of course, for having me. And then also to Janet, who invited me. I met her at the Velocity Center in Sterling Heights. And then again, at the 1 Million Cups networking thing. And then she actually came to one of my events. I started networking with kids thing where my wife and I were trying to kind of make friends with other parents, but they're also maybe business people or entrepreneurs or whatever. So I had a networking event at Jungle Java. And then that way the kids could play in the tunnels and the parents could hand out business cards, So we did that for a little while. And now actually Dr. Mary, if you don't know her. Okay, yeah. She's at the Move on Mound Road or Van Dyke, I think it is. Yep. And so she's doing the networking event there now. So right before she does the bag stuffing on the second Monday of the month, she's now hosting what was networking with kids. Now it's called the Ripple Effect, and it's at her location now. So, and anyway. So who am I guess, and where do I come from? My, roots. So I grew up in Frankenmuth, Michigan, and my parents started several businesses. We had J.R. Ricky Khan's, which was a pizza place, and we did donuts and bread out of a house. We moved to Main Street Tavern, which is right on the road there on top of the hill, right next to my grandpa's place, which was Sato Drugstore. He owned that. And then we bought the Blue Dolphin, and then turned that into Harry's Bistro. And all along, I was working since I was this big, probably, first grade, whatever how old that is, doing bar back, running, the beer for the bartenders. And then I was washing dishes and helping, kind of getting in, not with their meetings, but helping with, the book work or stuff like that, and watching my mom and my dad do it. And then, on phone calls and conference calls and things like that. So I've been kind of in the business mindset since I can remember. And so that's where I come from with that. And I kind of got out of the last one was Frankenmuth Cigar Company. I just said no more family businesses. So, and I left that. So no more, I didn't do cigars. But I was in New York City, I was trying to be an actor.
And so I did door-to-door sales in all 5 boroughs in New York. So Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, literally door knocking and doing sales there. And then of course I done the MLM stuff with EcoQuest. I tried that. And then after all that, I started an aerial photography business with drones. And then COVID hit, and then no more gatherings, so no more photography for gatherings and weddings and graduations. So to get my money back on the drone, I was like, well, I could do gutter cleaning. So I would do the inspections with the drone and do the gutter inspection and show them the before and after the gutter cleaning. So I did that until my shoulders couldn't handle that no more and sold all that stuff. So, but I got my money back in the drone. That's all that matters. So I spent top of the money on the drone. So what else? So yeah, that's I'm gonna basically kind of walk you through how I got into podcasting and why and kind of the road that it took me on. So what happened is I was with Metro Trading Association in 2013. And then I became a sales manager 2014, 2015 timeframe. Then I had my own kind of crew, and I was in Genesee County area, and I had, I think, 6 sales reps. And we were doing really well. And then a company came along and headhunted me essentially and offered me an amount of money that I couldn't refuse, essentially. So, after 8 years, I got laid off from there. And then I stayed in contact with Mike and Lois, the owners of Metro Trading Association. I was on good terms. And I even had one of my businesses, the photography drone gutter cleaning with Metro Trade as well. So I've been kind of like the account management membership sign up, and also I have my own business in it as well. So I really believe in trade. And so when I came back, I ran into some issues where I had another complication when I explained trade and barter and how it works and business to business barter, that people thought I was in crypto now because, that was nowadays, right? So back then I was competing with the whole trade, like, trade 1-for-1 or bartering or I need cash and all of those usual problems that I would run into. Now I had all that plus the crypto thing. So Mike Mercier, the owner of Metro Trading Association, was like, why don't you go on podcasts? And that's the new thing now that everyone's doing, and kind of explain that, be interviewed and explain it on what trade is, because you're not getting any traction right now. So I was all right. So I looked around in the Chamber of Commerce, and then I met somebody who did Good Neighbor Podcast. Good Neighbor Podcast is a franchise. So her last name is Sweeney. She would do the Rochester one, and then I would, it was uploaded, and I didn't really get anything for marketing wise for me, but it was at least exposure, and it gave me the idea to be like, well, that was easy. Why don't I just start my own podcast? Because I was a YouTuber as well. So I kind of already had some traction in the game to where podcasting was definitely easier for me because there's no video. I don't do video. There's video podcasts like Joe Rogan and stuff like that, but I'm audio only because it's so much more editing to do video, and you have to make sure the lighting's right, you're wearing the right stuff, you got the shadows, and the background, and it's just a lot more work. And then when you do the edit of the video and the audio, you got to clip the same things. It's just a mess. So I said audio only, minimal processing, minimal editing was my idea, and just see what happens. So when I talk to people on the phone and I try and explain trade, they, want more information usually, right? So instead of sending them a brochure or a flyer or an email or my website that links them to Metro Trade, and by the way, we've been around since 1978, so it's not like exactly a new deal, right? But new business owners don't know. It's not in college, it's not in entrepreneur, schools and things like that. So I was like, why don't I just make 3 episodes of a podcast just to explain it, just to give them a link, check it out. Here's what it is. Here's what the Metro Trade is. And then, listen to it when you pick up the kids or whatever. And then let me know what you think. And that's how it kind of started. Because when you are, if you don't know, I guess I'll give you a background real quick on trade. Business to business barter or trade is a credit system. So it's like a Visa, MasterCard, Metro Trade. But the difference is that you're in a group with members who are going to go out of their way and try and do business with you first before they go outside in the open market. So it's like joining a chamber of commerce or whatever, a BNI group, but you get a guaranteed result. So like our membership fee is $400, but if you don't get $400 in business the first year, we give you your money back minus the difference of whatever we got for you. So if I got you $300 in business, you get $100 back or whatever, right? So that's the guarantee. And a lot of times for big restaurants, I just let them in because they're going to do such high volume that, it's okay for me to waive my commission and bring them in the group because all the members are going to love the new restaurant. So now the restaurant, let's just say it's a restaurant, you go there for $100 and trade, they now have 100 trade credits in their system to spend with whoever they want in the system. So it's not a one-to-one barter. It's not like you're trading furs for jerky anymore. It's, it goes into a credit base so you can store the wealth. And then the only fee really is at that point is a 12% transaction fee for us doing all the marketing, the emailing, the phone calls. So you have brokers that put deals together. All that is not really paid for until you do the transaction. So it's joining a membership group that you don't pay for until you get results. So it's really nice that way. And then we do have a monthly fee, $19 a month, but that's after the first year. So you literally get a whole year to try us out basically for no charge. So, but it's hard to explain that on the phone or even in person. So the podcast came out. So what I did with that was I did the three episodes, and then I started getting listeners all over the world without me even marketing it that way. Because with AI now, there's the SEO. If you do your descriptions right, it'll crawl for keywords, and then you'll be a hit on a search result for somebody, in my case, like Australia and Great Britain, and then Germany. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on here? I was like, well, maybe I'll just keep doing it and I'll just keep uploading audio. I mean, it doesn't cost me nothing. The microphone I'm wearing right now, I think was $250. And I have another mic that I don't use because this is fine. This is great. I do it in my car. I do it in my office or my basement. I started off in my sauna in the basement. I bought a house with a sauna in it, and I turned it into a sauna studio because we never use it for anything else. So it's just dead space sitting there. So I was like, oh, this is great. I'll use it for a studio. So you can do it anywhere you want. And you don't have to have the best, equipment. And with the cameras, it becomes another issue, but you can have your camera on your iPhone. It's just as good as anything else anymore. So you can do it that way as well. So the benefit is where I kind of got a lot of traction, I guess you could say, was that when I was doing all of the podcasting, now you become kind of a professional or a guru in your field. So now when you're at chamber events, people come to you and they say, hey, I heard you have a podcast, and they want to talk to you, and what do you know, and things like that. So now you become, people come to you instead of you having to go to them. So it marketed it that way for me. So the reason why I did it as the Trading Post podcast is because, of course, trade and barter, it just kind of made sense. I was like, the Trading Post in the Old West is where you came to do all your commerce. It's where you came to bring your goods and do all your transactions. And that's kind of what Metro Trading Association is. So, and then I did it under my own brand. That way I don't have to ask permission for things when I want to market, whatever, right? So Metro Trade sponsors me, and they get all the logo and everything that I have. And yeah, I'm also part of Metro Trade, but they are just, an icon or whatever, a sponsorship in the Metro Trade or in the Trading Post. And then I was in Alignable, and then I got sponsored by Michigan Renaissance Festival. So it's kind of cool to where I was like, man, it'd be cool. Before that, I was like, why don't I try and make it so instead of paying for advertising, I get paid to advertise? That's fun. So, I'm not getting paid by Michigan Renaissance Festival. We traded tickets like they do on radio stations in exchange for mentions, but it's a start. One day maybe I'll get a real sponsorship where I'm getting paid money, or I'll get enough downloads to where I'll get monetization for just uploading a podcast and getting all the listenership that I'll get kickbacks for that. Or even if I get product sponsorships, you get kickbacks on that as well, like commissions. So it was kind of like, wow, that happened quick. I think I had the idea, and a week later, she texted me, or it was on Alignable. Lucy from Michigan Renaissance Festival wanted to sponsor me. And then something really cool that happened with the podcast. I talked to somebody else on Alignable, and she owns Press X to Play Games. And she got a funding by Epic Games. Epic is like a big to-do of video games, to create it's called Get Prepped, the video game. She's designing a video game, and she asked if I wanted to be in a video game as the trader at the trading post for the post-apocalyptic video game. And then within the game, there's all the people that walk around. They get real-time advertisements. So like I got a QR code behind me in the trading post. The Metro Trade will probably be in there as an advertisement in the trading post. So, and that's evergreen content. There's, I think they said 35 million video game players worldwide. And they're not just like the 14-year-old in the basement anymore. These gamers are, 30, 40 years old that are doctors and lawyers, and they go and play video games to defrag from the stresses of life and check out. So that's huge money online, to where this is going to be a whole new deal, to where people are going to do all of their networking and shopping and walking around in real life, virtual real life in these games. So she's selling ad space for like $20,000 within the video game, to where if like David Buster's would pay for their slot, then Dave and Buster's would be the hub for coming in to exchange, I don't know, food and weapons or whatever the game's about, so they're evergreen in a video game. Kind of cool. So I got a free slot in their video game, and that just happened because I had a podcast and I was using it to advertise Metro Trade. I was like, wow, okay, that's like three wall breaks. I didn't expect that to happen. And like I said, evergreen content, because an average video game's lifespan is 6 years, and then they'll do upgrades if it's a good game and make it go 8 or 10 years. And Disney World, I guess, sponsored their own island in a video game and spent, I think, $30 million for this island in the video game, a virtual video game. So it's a way to think about outside the box on how to market yourselves for the future. And gaming is the future, the MetaQuest and all that stuff, and virtual reality, it's here. So that just kind of happened within the game's not launched yet. This winter, I think, is a beta test, and I think it's officially launched in the spring. It's called Get Prepped, and pretty cool. I'm excited I always wanted to be in a video game, When I was young, I was like, man, it'd be cool is to be like the guy walking around in the video game, and now I get to be that guy. But I didn't voice my own character. I had she had somebody else, a professional voice actor, voice me, but I sent her pictures, so she's going to do like my likeness with the hat and the vest, walking around this trading post. Kind of cool. So, yeah. What else? One thing I am doing different, if you're looking at doing a podcast, is because I come from the YouTube world, that I used seasons as chapters. So with my seasons, I do like a season 1, I'm looking for it right now, is a trade education and member spotlights. That's like what I talk about in season 1. But I could do like a season 3 today, and then do a season 1 next Tuesday when I upload, because I'm not using seasons as a sequential order of events like everybody else in the podcast realm. I'm using it as chapters. So if, think outside the box, maybe something like that too. If you're looking at doing things and you want to educate people on your product, do it, maybe something like that. I'm trying it. I don't know if it's going to work or not. 50 episodes into it. I've been doing it for a year. And so, there's something that might catch on. And then season 2 for me is sales and marketing and networking. And then season 3 is my journey on promoting a business via podcasting. Because people will talk about, podcasting is the way of the future to market businesses, and you need to start a podcast to be a good marketer. But then no one talks about, 47% of podcasts fail before they get the third upload done. And I think most don't get to 50 uploads or something like that. It's like 99% fail rate. But because they overthink it, you just got to like hit record. As I used to do P90X back in the day, and Tony Horton would always say, just push play and do what you can, and then forget the rest. With podcasting, it's the same thing. Just hit record. Don't edit too much. You're going to stress yourself out, and hit upload. And don't worry about who's listening or who isn't going to listen, because your first 10 podcasts, unless you market them to like LinkedIn or Alignable, you probably won't get any listens anyways. So don't stress too much about making the perfect audio, the perfect everything, and perfect cuts and perfect editing, because it's, the reality is there's, I think, 20 million podcasts worldwide. So unless you have really good SEO or someone's really looking for your content to learn from, you probably won't get a listener unless you market to LinkedIn. Then when you put it on LinkedIn, people listen. That's how I get all my listeners. I just do a quick upload, a synopsis of the episode, and boom, I get listeners that night, But if I don't, it's like crickets. So you have to market also on LinkedIn or Alignable. That's what I do. If you're not on Alignable, it's like business to business. You kind of skip the middlemen and you get right to the entrepreneurs. And there's no like salesy people on there trying to promote you things on like they do on LinkedIn. But it's just Alignable cuts all that stuff out. It's like a Facebook for business owners or salespeople. So it's kind of nice for that. Not that it's a plug for Alignable, but what else? How much time I have left? 3 minutes. Cool. Let's see. I always think of like a TED Talk, they time you. I think it's 15 minutes you get. What else? Yeah, you know what? I hit everything. Is there any questions in the last 3 minutes before I wrap up here? Because I was trying to just think of things that I could talk about to where it wouldn't just be on my podcast. I talk about a lot of things on how to promote and use the podcast. So I was just going to, open it up for that. But basically that's it. Barter builds partnerships. Podcasting educates and markets, and new media expands reach. I always say turn challenges and opportunities and trade what you have to get what you need. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I have a question.
Sure.
Equipment. What equipment do you need to do a podcast?
This is it. I got the DJI. It's called a DJI. J as in Joker. I as in India. Microphone. It's wireless. You get mine. I got 2 of these wireless mics. This is the receiver. That's it. Or you can just use your phone. Well, I wouldn't use just your phone like this. Would sound terrible, but I would use.
But I mean, the phone records the podcast.
Oh yeah. It just plugs in my phone. Yeah, and you can use an Apple or Android. It don't matter. It's got an adapter for both. Okay. Or just to get started, just use the thing that comes with your phone, the earbud with the microphone. I've seen people do that on YouTube, just talking to your mic, with the wire, and just try it. And, just get the butterflies out and just do an upload. You can get past the first 3 before you invest any money in it. That's what I always say. Yeah.
Because I've seen those big, huge, microphones.
I have one of those. I use this. I have one of those at work. It's got the really good microphone with a USB. It's called an Audio Vox. It's got the compression microphone. I bought the foam thing for it with the pop filter that goes over it's called a pop screen to get rid of all that pop when you're talking to a mic. It gets rid of all that, so you just talk on the side. And I've used it, but in the bottom line, this is just so much easier to pop out. And from the time she was announcing me to get up here, it was all done. For
your podcast, primarily you use what we see in front of us. Right?
This is it. This is what I use for a podcast. Yeah. And I mean, if you're outside, there's a filter, like a fuzzy thing you put on the mic so it breaks the wind. It's got a magnet that comes with it, or I use the clip mostly, but this has this little magnet that pops right off. You just put it like that if you want and clip it on. Yeah, or I see a lot of, I watch a YouTuber, he puts it on his hat right here. And that way you don't worry about your clothes rubbing or nothing like that. And you can do that as well. Yeah. So sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was just gonna ask, in terms of content, do you make it like very structured, or do you
prefer to just do it sort of just whatever comes to your mind, you just talk through it? Like, what's that look like?
Yeah. So throughout the week, whatever's kind of happening around the world, because I'm in the business sector of everything and trade, whatever. So I talk about business a lot. So I'll usually try and gear it to whatever kind of current events are happening, because people are already searching for that on Google. And then I'll look at Google Analytics, and I'll look at the top maybe 10 keywords that are being searched for within the last 72 hours. And then I'll try and gear a podcast on that. So then that way I get clicks and SEO, search engine optimization, if you know what SEO is, so for them to automatically find my podcast without having to market it too much. And I'll use AI to help me build a script. So I'll ask AI. I use Perplexity. It's not, I just like Perplexity because it uses like 7 different AIs in one, and it finds the best one to utilize for whatever content you're generating. So anyway, Perplexity will tell me, I'll say, hey, create content based upon the tariffs and how it affects small businesses in the seafood sector, importing lobsters out, something like that. And then AI will, and then make it 20 minutes, done. And then it gives me all the keynotes, the bullet points and everything. And I print it out or whatever to my phone, and I read from that basically.
So what is the 23? You said 23 minutes is the magic. What is like? Why? Like what is that 23?
So I use a podcast platform I use. It's called Buzzsprout, and it's what that is that's your main hub that you upload your podcast to. And there's others, but I use Buzzsprout because I was familiar with it. And then what that does is it generates what's called an RSS feed. And then when you upload to Buzzsprout, it automatically goes to every podcast platform that there is. And there's ones I've never heard of, like Podnet, Podthis, and of course there's Spotify, and there's Apple Podcasts, and it does all of them. So then if you want to get monetized, which is where, like, let's say Dave & Buster's wants to advertise in the local area and they want to hit podcasts, they'll contact Buzzsprout and they'll say, hey, who's in this area, Shelby Township area, whatever, that is a podcast that talks business, that whatever. And then they'll say, oh, we have one right here that has the average of 23 minutes, that they have 1,000 downloads in the last 90 days. And I forget, there's a third metric that you have to pass. I think you have to do 3 uploads, but you're going to get that anyways after 1,000 downloads. So that 23 minutes is what Buzzsprout needs for them to make you a good, viable source for a company to want to not sponsor you, but pay for ads on your bid roll. Yeah.
So do you have to subscribe to, you as the business, subscribe to Buzzsprout, or what is that?
You don't have to. Buzzsprout is free. The problem with the free membership of Buzzsprout is you lose your uploads after, I think it's 90 days, 3 months, it disappears. So I pay $12 a month. Okay. And then they maintain it indefinitely as long as I pay a membership. But really I pay, I think it's like $24 or $28, something like that a month, because I also pay for their AI, which is $8. That auto levels my volume for me. So I don't have to edit in Camtasia or GarageBand on my phone to make sure my intro and my mid rolls and my body of the podcast and then the conclusion are all on the same level of audio. I don't know if you ever listen to like in commercials, even on TV forever, you're watching something and all of a sudden the commercial comes on and it's like, whoa, you turn it down, it's so loud. Well, this program makes that advertisement or whoever in my mid-roll all even. So don't get your ears blown out when you're listening to a podcast. It's usually 90% of people listen to podcasts with earbuds on or something like that. And then the other 10 is in their car, something weird metric like that. So that pay for that. And then the other $6 that equals the $20-ish I pay. It auto generates the body of my podcast to where it'll do the description for me all by itself. I'm listening to it. It also creates the tags for me, and it also creates the when you do a post on LinkedIn, it gives you 3 options to choose from to upload for you automatically. So you do no work. If you pay the extra $6 or $8, I do no work. The only thing I edit is the beginning if I'm rustling with my mic, and I'll maybe cut off the conclusion a bit. and I have something pre-recorded that I had a guy do for me. I met him at Velocity Center. He did my intro roll, the whistling intro. We traded for that. I gave him a membership in the Metro Trade, and he did that whistling intro for me. And now he gets exposure on my podcast because every episode he gets a blurb about his link, who he is, what he does, and he did a whistling intro for me, and it's in every episode that I have. And then that's it. So I do maybe 4 minutes of actual work when I do a podcast, other than the 23 minutes
The
of
talking.
talking. Yeah. And that's an average 23 minutes, not 23 minutes per episode. Some of my episodes are like 15 minutes, some are 40 minutes, some are 7 minutes. It's just whatever I want to talk about, I just do it. But the average has to be 23 minutes for you to be a good podcast to market. And I'm not getting paid yet. 1,000 downloads in 90 days is no joke. That's a lot of downloads. I know people who've been podcasting that aren't even close. So, yeah. Anything else? Anybody?
No.
It's good information.
Thank you. Yeah, I learned a lot, like a whole new language.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like the lines come down. Yep.
Your buzz, whatever. I heard.
Buzzsprout.
Spell it.
Buzzz. A sprout.
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 Because I heard Buzzsprout and a few other
Buzzsprout.
things, so it's or Frau and
Yeah, no.
My ears are buzzed.
Yeah, Buzzsprout.com is the podcasting platform, and you can use. There's I think half dozen out there, but I forgot how I came across Buzzsprout. I think I was looking for it, and I saw a YouTube video on it, and it looked easy to use, and I was like, okay, I don't know anybody who podcasts, And I was, like I said, a YouTuber, and I went through probably 3 or 4 channels on YouTubing, and then I kind of gave up on that. I did a gardening one. I did one where I was doing stuff in Detroit. I was called Stu and the D, and then I did another one. I forgot. I think homesteading or something. And I was all over the place, So, but this is way easier. I've actually stuck with podcasts.
so once you find your niche, you just go with it.
Yeah, you gotta try it. It might not even be your first podcast. Your first 10 might not even be what you love and want to talk about. You gotta find something you can talk about indefinitely. That's the kind of the scary part. But the problem is you can't brainstorm and think about it. You gotta just start recording and then figure it out as you go along. That's the only way to do it. So if you're like into embroidery, like you were talking about, you can talk about embroidery, but talk about like maybe the machines and this and that, and then what you can make with it. So I do 3 or 4 different things to think about and stuff like that. So thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I ordered this. Thank you. Yeah, well, because I got the banana sponsors left, and now they got theirs.
Thank you. That was very interesting.
I'm definitely connect with me on LinkedIn or Lineable. If you have more questions, I'd love to help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Charging base.
That's the charging base, and that slips right in that.